Hello and welcome to Movie of the Year, Best of the Year, Movie of the Year. That's right. This is the Movie of the Year, Best of the Year episode that is actually getting down to the Movie of the Year. And that's why I'm hosting, because I am the former film person. In a text feed, Greg has taken that spot over, and we will discuss that. We will discuss that on when the regular Movie of the Year show comes back. Greg, I was going to introduce you first because I figured you would talk first, but you talked so much faster than I even thought you were going to.
I was just supporting you. I said yes. I was backing up what you said. That it's called fill, Ryan. It helps if there's layers of sound in there. It makes it feel like a more living podcast.
So I was saying that you specifically have stolen my title.
Yes.
And you were supporting me by saying, yes, I have.
I was hyping you up, man. I was like, this guy knows. He's telling the truth.
Greg, I have a question for you.
Yeah, lay it on me.
This is it from our home offices in Tucson, Arizona.
Oh, man. The fat cats, the big wigs. I hate these guys.
What's a good movie nowadays?
What is a good movie nowadays? I would have to say a good movie nowadays is Star Wars.
No, I think I've seen that.
No, sorry, not Star Wars. Star Wars is not a good movie nowadays.
Also, they don't make movies. That's something that we're just never going to talk about on this show again. That's a TV thing now, like Law and Order.
Oh yeah. The market has proven unsustainable for Star Wars movies. A good movie nowadays, Ryan, is Tar.
Okay, I don't know if we have to continue. McKenna. Let me ask you this. I want to make it different from Greg, but what's a good movie nowadays?
I'm definitely gonna say something relevant and not something that came out past. I'm gonna go with the Banshees of Inisherin. I'm gonna say
okay.
That's a good movie.
You guys, we're just going through the bracket now, and we can't do that yet. I need vague, generic answers.
A good movie has people in it, possibly, but a better movie has animals.
This is what I'm saying.
Hell yes.
And that doesn't mean that we don't love a good silent.
Always makes a good movie. Yeah.
I would say that this year taught me, every year taught me, but this year specifically, that if you throw some dancing in there, it's going to be good. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't care what the movie is about.
Hunks and babes
doing dances. Caitlin?
Yeah?
What's a good dance nowadays?
A good dance nowadays gets your body moving.
Does Caitlin know that, much like Michael Scott, we don't record her first segment and then let her get all the kittles out, as they're called?
Why was there fear when you repeated it?
A good dance. Wow. No, it invokes emotion, Ryan.
Dances do?
Yeah. And you can feel it throughout your body.
I have to say, I'm a little disappointed
And is this...
you didn't say a good dance was a dance with your dog. Like, I just...
Well, I mean, not all dances have to be with your dog. You can also, do the jerk or, Soulja Boy that hoe, and you don't have to have your dog in the room, because that'd be weird.
Don't Soulja Boy your dog.
No, you don't do that. You don't do that, Mike.
Cassie, did you watch movies in 2022?
2022?
Yep.
No, I was on strike in 2022.
On strike.
I said no movies.
No movies.
When friends would come over and watch movies at your house, you would sit in the other room with a sign.
First of all, I would throw a huge fit. I'd be like, you guys fucking know I'm on strike from this. How fucking dare you? And then I would go sit in my room and just read a book, become learned.
If you guys haven't seen a Cassie tantrum lately, she's bringing the classics back. It's laying on her stomach, punching and kicking the floor.
My face turns so red because I'm screaming the whole time.
I don't love when your face turns red and then your head spins all the way around.
I thought it was a fun touch. I think it's pretty cool. It's kind of my party trick nowadays.
Mike.
Yes.
You're here.
I am here.
Let me ask you this. Are there any good episodes of the Pop Filter podcast nowadays?
Of the Pop Filter podcast? I think
that's like under the umbrella of.
Okay, I was gonna say that specifically has been dead for I think a decade. Yeah, I think there's been some classic movie of the year episodes lately. Even though some listeners, and I quote, say, "Are you ever going to talk about movies again?" Hey, fuckers, we're doing it right now.
And technically, we are not. We're talking about dancing and tantrums. Mike, if we were later on, we're going to put all of the best of the year shows, horror, preview show, mixtape, album, you know them all, into a bracket. What do you think is going to win that?
Oh, I mean, preview show really lays it out there. I think it's hard to fight the character arcs and the drama and the hard-hitting questions of the preview show.
Preview show is like, what if a WWE match? Just turn out the lights and let all the audience into the ring.
Yeah.
Like, it's just shit throwing.
It's what everybody wants. There were several deaths.
Shit throwing.
That's why people love monkeys.
Mike, I'm going to ask you an actual question to open this up, and then we'll, talk with our friends about it as well.
Gross.
The pandemic happened a couple years ago, and movies sort of just...
Boo.
Okay.
I'm just... did you love the pandemic? I'm booing it. It sucked, dude.
Greg is so, needs so much to be on the right side of one question, one topic.
You know what? I'm going to take the devil's advocate position. I'm pro-pandemic.
Don't, look... A lot of people died. It was terrible. But don't you guys miss it sometimes? Do you remember those times where you just got to be home all day?
Yeah.
That's just
We're
my
not
life,
supposed
right?
to do that.
Movie theaters shut down. Movies became this nebulous thing. It was TV drama and TV comedy. There's no difference anymore. But then it became movies and everything. What actually defines a movie? And they've slowly come back. Right. And we're going to talk about some of those reasons why in the bracket, because a lot of the movies that are responsible for this pseudo comeback, if not full comeback, are in the bracket tonight. But do you think movies came back, all the way, if not inched closer to becoming the center of our pop culture world? Or is that sort of gone forever?
I don't know if it's gone forever, but it's kind of like early 2000s. People were like, reality TV is just a fad. And then it wasn't, and it took over for a while, and it was all anybody talked about, and now it's just another thread in the quilt of pop culture.
I'm old enough to remember another one. Hip-hop's
New
just
Coke?
a fad.
Oh.
Rock and roll forever.
Yeah, it's so, yeah, I don't know if movies will ever be the predominant thing again, because so many streaming services they're like, we'll just release them straight to streaming, and hey, not all of them, # not all straight to VOD. But remember when straight to VHS, straight to video movies, what that meant quality-wise? I'm going to start pointing out that I think that's happening with straight to streaming service movies.
I mean, Cassie, do you remember a time when if it was a Netflix original, it was discounted and trash? Does it feel like that's the case anymore?
No, it kind of still surprises me, though. I don't know why it does, because it's been a couple of years where we'll get a Netflix original on there, and it's always kind of taken aback when I'm like, oh, wait, that's a Netflix joint? But it's common now. Netflix throws a lot of crap out there, but then they have some ones that are actually respected and good.
All Quiet on the Western Front, which I feel like I drafted on my Oscar team.
Nope.
Okay, well, we'll check the tape later. That's a Netflix original, technically, in this way of speaking. So they're trying a little bit, you know.
A little bit, but mostly Netflix originals are what is it called? Extract with Chris Hemsworth? Not Extract.
Yeah.
Extraction.
Oh, it's Extraction.
Shoveled onto the service.
Yeah, and never talked about again. They're in talks for a sequel for a movie that no one has ever seen before.
I watched it.
Caitlin, let's go to you.
Yeah.
Movie theaters are dying. And how many times do you think, honestly, you go to a movie theater a year now post-pandemic?
I've been ramping back up because I don't think I went to even last year. I think I only went to the movies 2, maybe 3 times. And I think I've gone to the movie 2-3 times in the past 2 months.
All Jennifer Lopez rom-coms?
Oh, man, I wish I saw that Jennifer Lopez one. But again, it was straight to streaming on Amazon. So I watched that in the comfort of my home.
The average person goes to the movies twice a year.
Whoa.
Wow.
Crazy.
And
I beat them already.
Just like church.
And that's now all Marvel movies that they will go to.
I
So
mean, that's what I went to the movies for.
if there's a movie that you want to see you did see Marry Me in theaters, which I'm not bringing
I
up
did.
just to make fun, just to make fun of you, but
Ryan, I went to the movies 2 or 3 times in 2021, and one of those was to see Marry Me. I just gotta say.
that's nuts. If you know a movie is coming out on Netflix and in theaters in the same day, are you going to go to the theater?
Yeah, if it's a good movie, honestly,
Yeah,
because I want the good sound and the big old screen.
because you famously don't have a TV; you have your phone that you tape to the wall.
I mean, that's Cassie, but But no, I like the big old theater and the fact that you don't have to fight over seats anymore. I think that's really enticing to me because having to fight over seats was the big, like, I don't want to go for that.
That sounds like loser talk, to be honest. When I go in the theater, I see the 2 seats I want, and if someone's in them, they're moving, man. I'm like a cat. I'll just climb on them until they leave.
But like every theater that Greg goes to has a picture of him framed that has a plaque that says "Jump Kick Champion." Like, don't mess with him.
He brings his own frame and he hangs it on the theater.
I'm getting a plaque that says that Jump Kick Champion.
What tournament was that? Who were the judges? Nobody knows. It's legendary. So Mac, I'll just like sum all this up with you. Are you nervous? Are you looking at our bracket tonight? And I think that it was an incredible year as long as you dug, as long as you searched for the movies that were good. Are you nervous about the future? Do you see movies maybe going the way of jazz in that this used to be the number one art that people talked about?
No, I do think there's going to be a lot more sifting. Like, we're going to have a harder job of finding the quality because there's just going to be so many thrown at us now that they're more commonly streamed. But I do think movies offer something unique that TV shows just can't, in that you only get a moment with characters. And the writers and the directors only have so much time to show you an arc or a story. And I think there's a beauty in that. And they have less chances of, like, fucking up a character because they don't think we can just spend 4 seasons destroying everything we just built up. So I think movies are still unique in that way. I think there's something that won't die with that.
I totally agree. As much as I loved watching TV for these end of the year shows, like this bracket really showed me that TV fucking sucks. And it's still the little bitch brother of movies. Like, not to keep shitting on this, but Under the Banner of Heaven, like if that was a 2-hour shitty movie instead of 9 hours of shittiness, that would have been so much better. Or like some of the non-Andor Star Wars shows, some of the like the Marvel shows, like why are we 8 hours, you know?
Contracts.
I would watch 32 hours of The Mandalorian,
Under the
which I
Banner
will.
of Heaven. That's what I was say.
What I loved about preparing for this is people gave Harry Styles a lot of shit a few months back, and I think there's probably a lot of things you can give that guy shit for. But I'm fully on the record saying I support. I don't know about that movie, haven't seen that movie, but saying this movie feels like a movie. Hell yeah! So many movies we watched for tonight feel like movies, and I think that is a perfectly smart thing to say.
Is that what Harry Styles said?
Yeah, he said, "Don't worry, darling. It's a movie that feels like a movie." And people are like, "That's stupid." I don't know. Have you gone to see any fucking Shazam movie or Marvel movie? They don't feel like movies.
There's 2 types of movies in 2023: Shazam movies and Marvel movies. Which genre do you like? But I think, Mac, I think you summed it up best by saying we just have to sift. Who better to sift than the 6 of us? That's our job. That's what we do. Is we get to you the movies that you need to see.
The Cinema 6, sifting away.
That's a badass
I
name.
feel like we can do like some gold rush type of thing, like with our little like pans, like we're sifting through it to find them little gold nuggets.
When you say do that kind of thing, do
Yeah.
you mean like on a logo or
Nope.
As a
literally
hobby.
do it?
Yep,
Okay.
like
Pan for some
physically-
gold, dog.
physically
It's right out
pan
there
for
in the
gold.
rivers.
They're moving them rivers.
For most of us, the rush to California is going to be a lot easier than it was in the 1800s. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have the 8 best movies of the year go into the ring and battle each other. Some of these matchups, guys, are fucking insane. I'm so nervous. I'm so sad already. But when we come back, the best movie of 2022 will be determined. Our first battle features 2 movies that became phenomenons, confusing Hollywood because neither stars white people, nor do they have any white people shenanigans, unless you count being villains. Our first seed and likely winner of the Oscar for Best Picture is Everything Everywhere All at Once. One of 2 movies in the bracket that was credited for saving movie theaters and movies in general. EEAOO stars Michelle Yeoh as a Chinese-American immigrant struggling to keep her marriage, her family, and her business intact. The only way she can save her life and the entire multiverse is by teaming with her parallel universe Michelles. The film, directed by the Daniels brothers, pushes on all of the edges of genre and absurdism to give us a wholly original movie that also somehow fits into every current trend. It's going up against our 9th seed RRR. The most expensive Indian movie of all time, the film became as legendary as its 2 lead characters, Raju, played by Ram Charan, and Kamaram, played by N2 Rama Rao Jr. Two real revolutionaries whose lives, friendship, and adventures get some good old-fashioned Indian exaggeration. Like its opponent, it also covers every genre ever, from action to historical epic, from romance to bromance. Tasty Caitlin, a nickname I will not keep for you. I ask you this. Which of these giant, time-spanning, country-spanning films, beloved by everyone who watched them, seems more of a complete piece, one complete story?
That's a crazy question because these, first of all, RRR was like 3 hours and they broke it up into so many different sections where it was like, this is not just a movie. This is like a ballad. It's like, there's so much to it. And they literally have everything. They have dancing. They have war. Anything you can think of is in that movie. Everything Everywhere All at Once has fucking people with hot dog hands.
Did you watch Banshees recently, Caitlin?
I watched Banshees today. Can you tell? And then you also have such like moments that make you want to cry because of the connections that these characters have. There's so much to it, but it also feels like it's a Marvel film because they're working with multiverses. So these movies have so many layers, and you're just like whiplashed between like all these different genres, but they work so well. And I don't know, Ryan.
You know what? Fuck you for asking. How about that?
Fuck you.
Mike, let's go to you. Does this feel like the worst but also kind of best matchup to pit these two together?
Yes, I just wish it was in an hour. I don't want to make any decision right now. What I love about both these movies, it is whiplash inducing, but what the creators of both know is that's life, baby. Any movie that's like, here's your one note, we're real depressing for 2.5 hours, that's not life. But if you're laughing at hot dog fingers to crying at mother-daughter relationships, or like, hell yeah, let's have a dance-off against white villains versus, oh no, my best friend is lashing me with a metal whip. Like, the whiplash is fluid. It's sometimes things can be totally jarring in a bad way, and neither of these movies are. I think they handle their shifts so superbly.
Okay, so let me throw this question up to everybody then. Is there one, because we're talking about 8 nearly perfect movies, right? It's time to nitpick. Is there one where you felt the lumpiness or the tone jarring or the unnecessary tangents?
I don't think I felt unnecessary tangents, but I think that RRR is amazing and cool and wonderful, but something about it being 3 hours felt just a little unwieldy. Everything Everywhere All at Once, like there's nothing superfluous, there's nothing extra. Like it very much feels like anything that seems like a tangent gets sort of like woven back into the central story, and anything that seemed like it was extra or too much becomes like sort of a focal point in a way that you never thought it would. You think Hot Dog Fingers is going to be like a 1-second gag, and then you go on this like intense emotional journey with these hot dog fingers people, and you really feel for them, and you can't help it. And then like
yeah, sorry, keep going.
Just that, like, by the time you get to the end of the movie, you realize anything that seemed extra was actually pulled in towards the center, and anything at the center also got pushed towards the outside, and I thought that was just a cool phenomenon.
Which is the ability of the script and also what is happening inside of the script. Is everything just getting pulled together? Mm-hmm. Do you wish that in Everything Everywhere they went to Banshee's Land and just had Brendan Gleeson throwing hot dogs at the door?
Just at the door. That would have been
choke
prescient.
on it and die.
Hey, Oscars, if you're out there trying to like put the host into all of these movies this year, call the 6 of us and we will figure that out for you.
I love hot dogs.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't know what else you need to hear.
How cool would it be to see Will Smith run up on stage and Hot Dog Fingers slap Chris Rock? But then later they have a romance and you realize that they're actually made for each other.
Just
or not even run up there.
Out of each other's fingers.
Yeah.
Just sit in his chair and have such baller-ass long hot dog fingers. He can do it from the front row. Mac, can you bring this conversation back?
I think it's going to take an alternate version of myself to find some semblance from connecting hot dog fingers to the bracket overall. I genuinely don't know where to go because much like these movies, the conversations we have taken with Whiplash, my thoughts are very
I do
scrambled.
think the only thing that like nitpicking wise, like if you can put these two against each other, the only thing that broke up RRR where it didn't feel as entwined and fluid as Everything All at Once was the title cards, I guess, that came up each time they gave you an R. It was like a mental reset for me. Like they were like, this is what this R is. And I was like, rad. But also like for a second, like it does kind of stop. It took me out from like the scene, but it makes it more like a play, I guess, which was cool. But
yeah, but
again, nitpicking here.
Also, doesn't the movie constantly take you out, but in the best way possible?
Yeah.
Like, it's never cinema verite. You know, it's always like, I'm just watching this tremendous fireworks show in the best way.
I did feel like watching both movies, I quibbled a little bit with their messages. Like, they were fun. And
like the NRA loves RRR. Let's just be honest.
Is that
and also like it kind of doesn't RRR imagine like an India that like has no Muslim people in it, that all the heroes are like the only laudable figures are Hindu national figures, and that always made me feel a little uncomfortable. And everything everywhere all at once. You know, sometimes people have like toxic family members, and the answer isn't just always cling to everybody because they're your family. Sometimes the answer is like, you got to cut people out of your life if what all they do is drain you. And I felt like this movie kind of like, in a way, maybe excluded people who have needed to sort of like part ways with some of their family.
I mean, I totally hear what you're saying, but like, in two movies that have so much energy and that are focused on so much stuff, do we throw this parachute on them of like the message didn't really land?
No, but when you're saying like, here are two perfect movies, now talk about ways in which you can differentiate them. What you start doing then is you start maybe getting a little nitpicky. Like you start thinking about what elements worked and didn't work, and how do we create daylight between the two of them. And so I think one way you do that is you look at their messages and then you ask yourself if they make you uncomfortable at all.
I think while I agree with one of your nitpicks and disagree with another, Greg, is I'm on board with the RRR one because it's trying to tell a countrywide epic tall tale. Like these are like demigods, and it is trying to be like, look at the history of our country right here, right now. But like, it's so broadly spanning. So to ignore a huge swath of populace that historically has been ignored by that country feels a little
and at a time where there's like a huge rise in Hindu nationalism, as there's a rise in nationalism in many countries across the world, but that is one of the centers of it. And so it just feels like an ill bit of timing.
I also love how it's like, but Muslims were not portrayed in the movie at all, and everybody's like, "Oh shit, that is a problem." And then other people are like, and the English were like sort of over exaggerated, and everybody's like, "No, they weren't. Actually, that didn't happen at all."
But,
sorry, Matt, keep going.
For Everything Everywhere All at Once, I guess I disagree because it's like it's one of those like the universal is specific. So I don't think the movie was trying to say every family should be like. It really is drilling down to these four characters, and one of the many moments that Michelle Yeoh's character is learning is her confronting her dad and be like, I can't do to my daughter what you did to me. So it isn't cling to him. It's like, listen, like, I get what you're saying. Cause that made me,
but she doesn't write him off. She she creates a narrative that brings him back into the fold.
Right. I just think it would have
been
been like more emotionally resonant if he got kicked into the everything bagel. Like, she was like, no, fuck you. Like, there's no redemption.
I think that there are a lot of people who have had to disassociate with members of their family because they have such toxic attitudes. And I just think I could see someone being like, I don't, especially some women have issues with their moms that are like, just you can't bridge that gulf. And then
moms are the worst.
It feels like the whole point of the movie is like, yeah, but you have to. You absolutely have to.
Okay.
I got a different bit of a read. I think it's not that you have to, but if like they're willing to work at it and listen to you, it can work. Yeah, I don't think it was so much of like that's necessary for you, but it was so much on her perspective of, oh no, I need to change. I'm
it's
the problem.
Me.
Consistently. Had it more been the daughter being like putting all the effort in to get her mom to change, then I would have read it that way. But it was so much more of her recognizing
it started with her and
causing all
that
this
she had to
chaos
like
around
change
me.
her relation. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
All of the problems, in my life are at the root of
Yeah, and I get a little bit nervous about like, oh, my mom doesn't accept my septum piercing. I'm done with her forever. Like the conversation. And yeah, I totally agree, Mac. Like the fact that like you bring up this issue and now your mom's willing to deal with it. She does have to go through. She has to meet 1,000 other of her. But she did eventually go through it. I think the main message of the movie is that if you have terrible parents, you only have to be slightly better than them.
Yeah.
So you get to be a terrible parent to your children. It's just you have to be a little bit better than that.
Soar over that low bar.
All right, Cassie, this is it.
You're going to me for the vote?
Yeah.
I gotta go?
Well, no, I'm
Fucking
starting
go.
with you because I want to talk to you first about this vote. I don't know where you. I don't know if RRR is super your movie.
It's a banger,
Yeah.
Ryan. It's good. It's fun. It's a good time. It is 3 hours. It doesn't necessarily fully feel like it, but you do like naturally just have to like be aware of time, and then you're like, damn, this is 3 hours. Like that.
When you're watching it, do you ever put up your left hand and you're like, with this, I control time? Did you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch me watch it?
I watched you watch Tar and RRR at the same time.
It was a great experience. They sync up pretty well.
Whereas Everything Everywhere All at Once is that, do you think in Cassie parlance, more of a banger?
I think it's just such a good movie. It's number one for a reason, which is why this is a heartbreaking matchup, because RRR, it's the last seed, right? That's how this one works? That's how bracket works?
Do we discount it because every time you say the title of that movie, you sound like a seal?
RRR! And for that reason, it can't move on.
I want it out of my life as fast as possible. So your vote is for Everything Everywhere?
It is.
Caitlin,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Woof. I do like both of these movies. They're both wild, and I love all wild things. But
Oh, Caitlin, before we
Yeah,
go, I want you to go around the room and
Yep.
tell us which of us is a Raju and which is a Beam.
God, I wish I could remember who was who.
Raju is the military soldier
Okay.
who gets the bow and arrow at the end.
Okay.
And then Beam is the guy who
The yes.
came from the tribe.
Yes. Everyone, I have to tell everyone.
Everywhere, all at once.
Look in their eyes.
Ugh. Okay, I'm gonna say everyone's a Beam because you're all nice people, and you probably have really nice beards too.
That's bullshit.
Yeah,
I'm
he's a
Ru-
curly and I'm a curly, so I think that goes.
Yeah.
I think that goes without saying.
I don't think anyone can be mad. Ryan, if you're mad about it, I can tell you that you're the other one.
Well, I like pretty militaristic, right?
Yeah.
Dedicated to my craft of beating people up.
Yep.
Can jump super high.
Luxurious eyelashes for days.
Oh my god.
Was that CGI?
It had to be. Those were.
That's why the Tigers
unreal.
look cheap, is they spent all their CGI money on the mustache.
In the scene
Money
where
well spent.
in the very beginning of our one of the British soldiers. Did you guys recognize like the King of Britain or whatever
Yeah.
as Punisher
Titus.
3?
Titus Pulo.
Yeah, or the guy from Rome.
Yeah.
He's like, arrest that man who's like way out there, and he goes and does it, and I was like, wait, he's working for England. Is he one of the bad guys? And Stephanie was like, he is not.
Yeah.
I will tell you this right now, he is not one of them. Stephanie
And
is
if
my
he
wife.
is, even better.
All right, so we're all beams. But what's your vote?
Oh man. I honestly, again, the only thing against RRR is the fact that it was so long that I did have to cut it up into 2 different days and watch it.
2. That's pretty
One
good,
and a
I
half
think.
hours per.
Yeah, I had to do an hour and a half, and then I had to rest in between. So yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to Everywhere All at Once because I feel like it was more concise and told the story, and I didn't feel like I had to break it up at all.
Okay. Greg,
Yeah, Ryan.
it's vote time, bud.
I think
I
I'm
already
going to
know your
disappoint
vote.
you based on where I am in the voting. I loved RRR. Is so fun. The dancing and the music, but I just kept thinking that there's something I wasn't totally comfortable with about it. And so I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is as close to a perfect movie as you can get. Just having quibbles with it does not mean that it's not an almost perfect movie. I really appreciated like the sort of economy of the movie, and it had probably some of the funniest moments of any movie of the year, mixed in with all the heartfelt moments. So
We didn't even
it's
talk about
everything-
the raccoon.
Yeah, we haven't
Raccoonie?
even talked about Raccoonie yet.
Raccoonie.
And again, that's another like very silly element that you are sure they're going to throw away, and then they keep coming back to it until finally, like he's crying and snot's running down his face. Raccoonie.
If Everything Everywhere wins Best Picture, like it's gonna be in the clip shows of the future, it's gonna be like Bridge Over the River Kwai and Lawrence of Arabia, and then butt plug fight.
The butt plug fight, dude. That thing just hanging out, man. But you know that like a lot of us feel like we have like a very like artistic spiritual side, and then also a very base side, like a shadow self that we like don't totally want to own. And I feel like this movie just integrates them in a way that's like, yeah, everybody's perverted and weird and childish, but they're also like made of light and beautiful, and like it can be everything, and it can be everywhere, and honestly it can be
Oh shit, here we go. Yes.
Sorry, this movie was funny.
I've also heard theories where like the people who grew up on the shit that we grew up on that actually appreciated it, and I'm talking about like Naked Gun or crappy Disney movies, are now elevated to like where we're going to dictate, not just making movies, but dictate what good movies are. And so all of our influences are coming into that now.
Our
and
podcasts are helping to set the zeitgeist.
That's what I was trying to say. Thanks, translating. All right, Mac, where are we going?
Yeah, I don't want to be just beating this dead horse of voting, but I am going to go in the same direction as everyone else with Everything Everywhere. I have to go with the movie that I felt more energized after watching, that I felt like the pacing definitely matched. To be honest, I'm always on the verge of falling asleep these days, and that was one of the few movies that was like, I feel not tired at all while watching, but also not just that it was exciting and a lot of action, but I also felt like with a renewed sense of view of the world, which I think is nice. I think movies that kind of challenge you to see things differently are always worth watching. So Everything Everywhere.
Mike, I have 2 votes. If we need a tiebreaker, as the host, I will give you a second vote. So that would make this a tie, 4-4, if we both vote for it. Do you want to do it?
Yes. RRR has everything I want in a movie. I had the biggest childlike wonderment grin on my face for those 3.5 hours.
Is there a set piece that like stands out to you, Mike, that absolutely destroys the rest?
It's one because it's so big. It's early on. It helps set the tone. But Raj versus 1,000 people at once is when I was like, oh my god, it's Indian Fast and the Furious. And then the dance fight. Those are probably my 2 favorite moments, and just like the showing the difference between the Indian folk and the white folk. Of be like, the white folk are pissed while they're dancing because like, we got to win, and the Indians are like, hey man, dancing's awesome, isn't it? Even though we're in a competition, like.
See, you did not mention my top 2.
Whoa, because there's so many. What are your top 2?
Me on motorcycle, you on horse. Save
Oh,
the kid.
yeah.
Yes, we go. Fred Armisen, we go down and we save. And my legs are broken, bud. Should I just get on your shoulders, and should we absolutely fucking crush everything?
Yeah, they Assassin's Creeded while one of them had broken legs and carried the other one.
I was like, Voltron!
From the makers of 3 Kids in a Trench Coat, come 2 action heroes stacked on top of each other.
And just to so boldly never explain why these guys are super powered, and everybody's just like, I can't do that, but they can. That's fine. Like, I really liked that cultural difference from if it was an American movie, you'd have an extra hour to be like, well, here's why. There was
the origin story.
But like, that's the thing that sort of makes me think of Pixar while watching this movie, is that as we're sort of, as audiences get more sophisticated, we need more nuance in our storytelling. We need more background and character development, but also just like, why'd that happen? Oh, because that, cool, let's move on. And then you can fit everything in. And if you set that tone correctly, right, then you can sort of do everything.
In a Western movie, it would just be, they just talk to somebody wearing a long white coat, and they're like, oh, oxygen is making their muscles better. And it'd be like, okay, good, we have an explanation. Let's move on. Do you really need that, like, 3-minute scene?
No. And that's why, to me, it felt like tall tales that you learned about in elementary school. Like, there's just, there was normal people in history, but then also Pecos Bill rode around on Tornado. That was his horse, and you're going to deal with it. Like,
but where is the Pecos Bill prequel where we find out his love of tornadoes, how he got these abilities?
Oh, the tornado has a soul. I never knew that. It's going to totally change the way I look at that now.
Hey, Greg, we joke a lot. No, they fucking don't. All tornadoes go to hell. But Everything Everywhere All at Once, I think, gives me everything I need in a movie. rounding back to saying I said RR gives me everything I want. 2, I think. Caitlin said it feels like a Marvel movie. No, it doesn't, because these characters change and grow and are actual humans and make you feel things.
Okay.
It feels like a Marvel movie, like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Feels sort of called
Yes.
out there.
It's
And
unnecessary. Okay.
Someone's a little angry.
to be able to play with like the common parlance of the day, be like, oh, you guys are sick of multiversals? I'm gonna do it and rip your heart out in a way that every other version of this cannot do right now. The Daniels have been perfecting. I love Swiss Army Man, but it is
Do you?
goobery as shit. I saw it recently, and it's fun and goofy, and I'm like, what a fun learning step for you guys to like. They had to make that to be able to get here, and I bet James Gunn is kicking himself, because I think the Daniels and Everything Everywhere All at Once do exactly what he wants to do, and riding that line between silliness and heart without being saccharine.
Well, James Gunn is directing the RRR remake with Paul Mescal and Timothée Chalamet.
I don't like that.
And Harry Styles plays both of them. So that's pretty impressive. RRR, thank you so much for coming. An absolutely incredible experience, but Everything Everywhere All at Once does move on. When we come back, we're going to get a little less crazy with our movies, I would say.
Well, that is very, very funny. Or very sad. And perhaps now you have something to think about. Or very problematic, and perhaps we have something to think about. But in any event, I'm sure you have some reaction to what you're listening to. So why not check us out on the social media? You can go to Instagram or Twitter and find us at YourPopFilter. Email contacts@YourPopFilter. Hey, everybody. Keep watching them movies.
Our fifth seed is Jordan Peele's third movie, Nope. Released in the summer as one of the few studio blockbusters that relied on the name of the director as opposed to IP, Nope sees Peele get a little less horror-focused and a little more Spielbergian. It takes place on a horse ranch where a brother and sister realize that they have a visitor in their skies and decide they want to capture it on film. The movie tackles exploitation, particularly in pop culture, and essentially serves as a how-to guide on standing a shoe straight up. It's up against our 13th seed Turning Red, a movie that Mike forced into the bracket and then used it to kick out the best movie of the year, After Sun, essentially sealing its fate as the worst movie in this bracket. For many, Turning Red is a return to form for Pixar. Not a return to theaters, but a return to form, as it gets back to Pixar's roots, tell an incredibly grounded, relatable story with a small genre kick, and then make everyone cry. The film tells the story of Mei Li, a 13-year-old Chinese-Canadian. A lot of people forget that. This is not a Chinese-American.
So
It's Chinese-Canadian student who turns into a giant red panda whenever she feels a strong emotion. Or as Chicago Tribune film critic Roger Ebert called it, a cross between Hulk and a tampon. Roger, what the fuck?
And he said this posthumously?
Yeah, he said this from the grave. He told Miss Cleo.
Mei Li learns to deal with the gift/curse of becoming a red panda and the gift/curse of having a mother. Tasty Cassie, I ask you this. Which movie better shows that the best way for families to bond is to put a giant monster right in the middle of them?
Pixar, because the monster was cuter. Is my
Then
answer.
that big hat-looking...
Then that weird tarpy. I don't know. I was trying to explain this alien to somebody, and I was like, "It's like a tarpy, floppy alien," and they were like, "Okay, so just like a sheet." And I was like, "No, it's complex. Like it's got depth."
Didn't
It's-
you also describe conductor Lydia as Tarpy?
Yeah, she's a little tarpy.
It's all
love
round,
this.
but the center is a square. What's going on? What are you?
It's the weirdest thing. It literally, I had to sit with it for a while just off the form of this alien once I saw how it worked. I literally had to process like
Did you switch chairs?
Yeah.
I went to my thinking chair.
It's like this. Everybody don't talk to me for
Watch
a
a
moment.
chair. I'm gonna have to push you aside. It's thinking chair time.
But Turning Red, however, is a cuter monster. And I'm getting a text from you right now, Cassie, that says this is your favorite period piece.
Absolutely. Do you get it though? Do you see what I
Come
do you see what I did?
Cassie's
But yeah,
our
this-
generation's Roger Ebert, I think, is what everybody's been saying.
That's what
Okay,
everybody says.
Let's get to the important question, Ryan, if you don't mind my underhosting here. Who wins in a fight between very big red panda, like the huge version at the end of the movie, and the bad guy from Nope? Because I think it's Panda, easy.
You think it's giant red panda until the end when Nope spaceship goes, and then you just watch red panda go up the fucking gullet.
You watch it slowly get
Oh,
up
stop. Oh,
Can't
God
tell if
damn
it's
it.
having fun or getting killed.
while it's singing a One Chan song or whatever the band is.
one new direction.
Boys for now.
One new direction.
Nude erection.
How does this stack up against the other Pixar movies? Because you called it a return to form, Ryan, but like,
Yes. I
is
think
it
that
a
we've been on.
full-on return to form.
I think that this is the best, probably. And although I do kind of hate this movie because of Mike, I do think that this is the best since like Inside Out, probably.
Yeah.
Which is, I think now,
Which is a decade
looking
ago.
back on it, I know, but it's like it's been elevated into the all-time Pixar
Right.
movies. And I watch stuff like, or I think about stuff like Soul, which just doesn't work. Like it's.
That's my
Is that the
well
sound
thought
of him falling down
analysis.
the manhole, Mike?
Yep.
Listeners, Mike did channel Chicago Tribune movie critic Roger Ebert by not just doing his thumbs down, but also making a fart noise, which Roger Ebert would often do with his butt.
Ebert was like, "That soul's in hell with me."
This is the one where I was like, this is fucked up. Why aren't we getting back to theaters? And then they heard me and they were like, all right, we'll put Lightyear in theaters. I was like, well,
No, not that.
Gotta watch what you say, Ryan.
Mike, as our sci-fi horror nerdy genre guy, what did you think of this new alien being? Like, is this the most important thing that Peele did to movie making with Nope?
I think 100 years in since the alien train first ran at those people and they thought it was
Oh,
gonna
God,
kill
wait. Okay, don't even talk about it.
them. I think it's hard to come up with new alien life forms, and I think it was so smart to be like, it's not gonna have limbs. It's gonna look super carbon based in how we assume an alien will look. It's gonna fucking freak out your mind because it looks like a giant butthole sheet.
It kind of looks like a jellyfish, though.
Yeah, it does.
It's
look
got
quite
jellyfish tendencies.
and jellyfish are aliens.
It kind of looks like a big eye, right?
Yes.
Don't you think that's what they're going for on
Sauron?
some level?
A big eye, maybe a big. It's definitely apertures. If that's a
Yeah.
verb. It's watching us all and exploiting and killing us. Just like the movies. And yeah, I think the design I hope we'll see kind of ripple throughout and get the VFX people thinking in cool.
And by
weird,
ripple out, you
abstract
don't mean
ways.
that like, oh, we can have new looking aliens. You want every alien from here on out to specifically look like the alien from Nope.
Exactly. Just like every alien looked like the xenomorphs for a while. Now it's gonna just pop up everywhere.
Every bad guy should look like something you could buy at REI.
It came out of the bag so perfectly, but now I don't know how to shove it back in.
way. I hate you, alien.
And
McKenna,
I think it raised
let's go
Keke Palmer.
Yes.
It raised Keke Palmer?
It raised Keke Palmer to the greater public consciousness. I think is actually the greatest thing that movie did.
Yeah, I feel like that she had been like just about to pop for a lot of people, maybe through memes and
Yeah, it was. I only knew her from "I'm Sorry to This Man." I didn't know what she'd acted in ever.
She's on Proud Family. She was in a bunch of like was it Disney or Nickelodeon? I don't know.
I think Disney. She's
Disney.
yeah, she's
Wow.
a Disney actress.
Yeah.
But were you disappointed, Mike, that she never looked into the camera and said, "I'm sorry to this man" and winked?
Yes,
And then shot a missile right into the alien.
that's how you can tell Kevin Feige isn't behind it.
McKenna, do you think that the Turning Red is a return to Pixar form? Does this feel like upper half at least?
I think so. I think it feels like that movie that I would have enjoyed as a child but still learned from without realizing I would have learned from, and as an adult I enjoy too. And which is like what classically Pixar did for me as a kid. Like it was one of those movies that my parents never minded putting on because it was like universally appreciated. And it felt like it was a story that like every part of the story, like the writers, the directors, they all wanted to tell this story. It had that kind of cohesion that I like. It felt authentic. And
I think that's such a good point. Yeah. Domi, the first female director for a Pixar movie, whose name I will remember later when I look it up. Domi Shi. And yeah, I do think that a lot of Pixar's problem over the last 5 years or so is more writers come in and then more writers come in and more writers come in and you lose the sauce, you know? Like I think that was a problem with Soul is that
Yeah,
Soul
isn't that
had
literally what
so
happened
many
with Soul?
elements. It's just Soul had so much stuff to it and Lightyear had so little. And I think that Turning Red fits perfectly in that middle.
The perfect amount of stuff. And the perfect amount of red pandas, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it hurts that the red panda is like among the cutest animals possible, and you spend so much of the movie just watching a huge one running around.
So fun. It also is one that deals with like so many, I guess maybe not Pixar, but like a lot of it has to, like when the characters grow, it comes from like some type of death or some tragedy. Like this is just the family healing, like the mother-daughter relationship and prior mother as well, grandmother to the kid. Like it's just relationships healing.
You call
like
your grandmother prior mother?
prior mother.
Hello, prior mother.
I think I know why you guys aren't close.
I brought you cookies this morning, prior grandmother. Prior mother.
You mean grow figuratively?
Yeah,
'Cause they
into
literally
big red
grow-
pandas.
yeah.
Also, it looked so good. I know these movies just continue to look better and better, but man, watching it was, I won't say distracting, but it is just so good looking the way like they've like added depth of field to this and like established like better stuff in the foreground and everything. It really like it just pops off the screen in a way that I think we used to feel like Pixar movies did, and now we know like, no, wait, this is the good stuff.
If Disney had said some way, like if they had made an announcement, Turning Red is going into theaters and it will not be on Disney Plus for 6 months, like it used to be. Like that's the way things used to be. I would have absolutely figured out a way to get there. But now I'm just like, I'll wait forever, you know?
Yeah, they really can't have it both ways, and I think that they're gonna have to, and they probably are, like just going back to the model of releasing things in theaters because it also like makes it feel bigger and grander if you have to go somewhere to watch it. I think there's something almost a little anticlimactic about being like, the new Pixar's out. Want to watch it while we eat dinner?
Yeah,
On
exactly.
our phones.
Yeah.
There's like less
did
urgency too.
you?
I can pause when I want. I can like hold off on connecting the story all at once, how it's supposed to be seen.
Watch it 20 minutes at a time.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many studies that say that any movie that is released on streaming will get way more numbers if it was released in theaters before that. Long before
Right.
that. Because that makes it feel like it's real. I'm excited to watch it. If you release it right to streaming, going back to our first conversation tonight, this feels like VOD. This feels like straight to DVD. I don't give a shit.
And
you know?
and releasing in theaters builds excitement, like true word of mouth hits. Versus like your one weird cousin talks about the thing he saw on VOD last week, and you're like, okay, I'll watch that someday, George.
I think it's like the same concept of like TV shows that release all at once versus weekly. It creates an experience, a phenomenon around it. And like I don't really have the opportunity to go to theaters very much at all anymore. But when I hear friends mention movies that they're going to theaters for, that ramps up the excitement for me, even though I know I'm not going to be able to just run off to a movie theater and watch it.
Yeah, here's some advice, everybody. If you want to just really appreciate your friends, have a baby, and then live vicariously through their exciting adventures, like going to the movie theater, which sounds amazing.
cool.
What did it smell
Cassie.
like?
With Nope. Sorry, I'm going back and forth here, but I think that's sort of the point of the show. With Nope, like, do you recommend this to people who are scared of horror? Like, do you recommend this movie to everyone? Do you think it works on all the levels, including not being that scary?
I do think, because I was scared. I was worried that I would be too scared. Like I was like, hey, it's nighttime and I'm gonna watch this. Like lights have to be on. There was a moment I had to watch it by myself, and I was like, absolutely not. I'm waiting until somebody will watch this with me. And then it was pretty chill time. Like there's some suspense, but like the fact that the monster is this alien thing, like I knew, and that it was like a Jordan Peele joint, I was like, I'm gonna be learning something. Like it was like a PBS special for me.
Also, there's this feeling that the monster or alien or UFO is a baby, and that sort of makes it more adorable the whole time.
It's just this little guy walking around. But also there was like, you're trying to piece together this story because we're going back between like, you know, this monkey attack and all of this, and you're like trying to, like, it just kept you like trying to figure out the story for me. Like I was just more like, what's going on?
Yeah,
That's
especially
the
if you-
scary part, right?
Yeah.
Like the very real thing that does happen, which is sometimes chimps go ape. Like that's what's portrayed as scary. The fantastical parts of this movie are way less scary. Like
Yeah.
that was like a kind of masterstroke because like then it makes you think like, oh no, wait, I'm in the scary world.
Yeah.
But there's a scarier part though, as a viewer, which is what if I don't get it? You know, like, I got through Get Out and I got through Us, and I appreciate them, I think, as much as I possibly can. But like, what if I don't get it? Greg, we'll go to you. We talked about Everything Everywhere and RRR in the last segment, and are they lumpy? Do they gel? does this gel? And if not, is it okay?
I think it gels a lot more than Us did. I think Us threw a lot at the wall, and then it was like, yeah, kind of connect the dots if you want to. And I've been doing that since I saw it, and actually I like Us a lot more than I did the first time I saw it because I just think about it a lot. But this one, I feel like you can basically connect everything pretty easily. I believe personally it is about what happens when we turn tragedy into spectacle, and when instead of reckoning with the past, we turn it into something that, like, we're uncomfortable with it, so we turn it into a joke, we turn it into a show, we turn it into an exhibit.
We can modify
and that what
it.
happens is we are then haunted by these things because we have not resolved them correctly, right? And so I think that, like, that's kind of clear in a way, and that like is perfect for cinema, right? It's perfect for film. You know, Birth of a Nation, one of like the first blockbuster ever, and like what they do is they still talk about in the movie. They're like a black ranch that still talks about film, and it's like, yeah, we're still haunted by the fact that in the history of film, there are these seeds of absolute racism and domination and terrible racial violence, and we don't reckon with that. Instead, we just do spectacle upon spectacle upon spectacle, and so
creating more distractions so we don't have to reckon with it.
Yeah, and
right.
then,
Like if we shoot off more fireworks, then we don't have to deal with the fireworks that we already shot at. Like watching this movie, the thing I thought about the entire time was Britney Spears taking a golf club to a car, and it was just like it was so funny and so everywhere, so haha. But like also, what are we doing to this person? And what are we saying about ourselves as a society?
She's Andromeda. Like we sacrifice people. We literally sacrifice them. We watch them struggle. We stand there and we watch them drown. And we make jokes about it while it happens. Here's a mentally ill person having a breakdown in front of the world and saying, somebody protect me, somebody save me. And what do? We go on late night shows and make fun of her while she's in the absolute throes of that. Like, it's so cruel and awful.
Oh, I fully think that 10, 20, 30 years from now, Jay Leno will be history's
He's a
greatest
monster, dude.
Like the amount of money he made on people's trauma is just insane.
Yeah, did you watch the Monica Lewinsky FX show? Holy shit, dude. This young girl that was absolutely abused by everybody that was around her, including the top comedians of the day, who treated her like a joke while she was, again, like kind of drowning in front of everybody.
All right. We have to go to it. Mac and Caitlin, you're going to sit this out because you didn't watch Nope. So, Mike, we'll go to you.
I love Turning Red, mostly because it made you so mad.
Should you find different reasons for doing things?
No,
or?
it's I've
That's
been
friendship.
driven by spite my entire life. Why would I change now? I think it's so well done. It's so well put together. It harkened back to the olden days of Pixar, like everybody said. But Jordan Peele makes movies that don't get out of your craw, and I can't.
Yeah.
A year later, I can't stop chewing on it, and that feels so rare these days. And so, yeah, my vote has to go to Nope.
Cassie?
This is just an insane matchup. I don't know if anybody has ever talked about Turning Red versus Nope. It's just wild that these are against each other. Turning Red is a great Pixar film, but it's against Nope. I'm gonna vote for Nope.
Greg?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what Mike said. Like, I get excited about movies when I have to think about them, chew on them, process them, and that's you have to do that with so many of his movies. And Turning Red is beautiful and wonderful. It's not a slam dunk, but it's definitely Nope.
As much as we love them, everyone's like, Jordan Peele, please don't make a Marvel movie, right? Like, just so we can keep thinking about whatever you make. I mean, same with Greta Gerwig. Everyone was scared when she made a Barbie movie, and I think we're all like, okay,
Give it
what
to
are you
us
going to make
now.
us think about? Yeah. Nope, definitely takes it down. When we come back, we are going to get to these are the two quietest movies of the bracket. Stay tuned for that. Our second seed is The Banshees of Inisherin, Martin McDonagh's follow-up to one of the dumbest movies that ever won Best Picture, which is saying something. For this one, he went and grabbed the stars of his first film, In Bruges, and got back to basics. Set on an island next to Ireland, where there isn't a war, but you're instead the audience to a war, two best friends have a bit of a breakup. What starts as a cute little story about men being dumb elevates to a classic, timeless Irish fable, complete with morals, consequences, and even a banshee. It's going up against the best in a series of movies where filmmakers make films about their childhoods and how much they love movies, one of which won this award 5 years ago. This one, though, is directed by King Spielberg. The Fabelmans tells the story of Sammy, a thinly veiled Spielberg analog who falls in love with movie making, moving from narratives with his friends to documentaries that show more truth than he ever thought they would. Tasty Mac, I ask you this. Was it Sammy, or was it Martin McDonagh's Irish Fable that made them the better Fable man? Go ahead.
Ugh.
You can react to that for a little bit.
Hold it. There's so much to uncover about these. What I will say in regards to Fables and like the work it's doing, the Banshees of Inisherin, I felt like had a little bit more control of its narrative in its ability to kind of get that message across. So I think that's the Fable that I took away. The one that was like the stronger. I think it had a little bit more control and it made it a better Fable.
Let's start with Banshees then. I don't know what you guys expected when you walked into this. I assume that everyone saw this in theaters, yes?
Yeah.
For sure.
I watched it on
Yeah.
my laptop, but I was in the theater.
While doing what, Greg?
While attending my nephew's high school play. I forgot headphones, and they were not cool.
Well, luckily the play was Banshees of Inisherin, so you just synced it up. And it was fine.
Play. Okay, go.
I don't know what you guys thought about this, but I thought it would be a dark, rousing, rated R, comedic good time. Caitlin, what was your experience instead?
Oh my God. Okay, so yeah, I also came in and I was like, Banshees of Inisherin? That sounds scary. This is going to be a scary ass movie. I put this off as long as I could because I was like, I don't like the spooky stuff. I turned it on and these two guys are just like, you don't want to be my friend anymore? What the fuck? But I want you to be my friend. Just two men just trying to like, one guy wants to have a friend and then another guy is like, no, I need to have art instead. And then there's a donkey and
What is, Caitlin, let me ask you this. What is more me and Mike
Fuck
in
you.
our relationship together? Is it RRR, which I think is close, or is it Banshees, where I just want to be left alone?
This was my 10 minutes in. I was like, this is my nightmare. Your older, redheaded, talented friend for no reason is like, we're done.
yes, honestly, no,
Don't come
Mike,
over to my house anymore.
I was distraught.
For reals, Mike, I was like, I feel for this guy because it's like, I don't know, having anxiety or just being a person, just feeling like one of your friends just actually doesn't like you or doesn't want to be your friend anymore. It's like, that's heartbreaking.
That's
I
a
would
literal
go a little crazy
nightmare.
too. I might burn down a house too, but save a dog, you know?
And then you watch him flourish. That's the other thing. Like, he says to you basically, like, I think you're holding me back.
Mm-hmm.
And then you watch as he absolutely proves that to be true, as he writes a rousing, wonderful song,
Yeah.
starts like a little music program all on his own.
Smiling.
Wait, but I think one of the reviews of the song is that's mid. That's kind of stupid, but that is from Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that counts.
Seems suspect.
It's not as cool as a donkey, but whatever.
But yeah, like
Pile of shite.
it's as dudes, you know, you have to come to the conclusion that this dude has ruined your life. I think is sort of impressive. You know, like what you do from there is up to you. But then you have to remain a man. So if I say I'm going to chop off my fingers, I'm going to chop off my fingers.
Well, that's what it becomes, like this ultimate contest of wills, because he says, leave me alone, and his friend says, I will not. Or he can't, like, remember to. Something in between those two things. And then he's like, okay, well, then I'll just do something extreme. Like, either one of them could have kind of backed out at any moment. And that's why the background of Ireland every once in a while just absolutely exploding off in the distance and everyone stopping and looking at it. I mean, you could argue maybe it's heavy-handed at times, but I think it's a pretty good like backdrop for what's going on in this. It's just two sides that will absolutely not back down, even if it hurts them to not back down. Like, no compromise, don't give an inch ever.
And then we do have to talk about Carrie Conran, who also from Rome, just like the English,
Titus Pulo?
just like Titus from RRR.
Yeah.
As this person who's like, fuck, men are dumb, but I have to go protect my brother, and then going to talk to Brendan Gleeson and being like, just let him go. Like, you know, like first, can you please be friends with my brother? What an embarrassing thing for your sister to say to someone.
A very older sister thing to do.
Yeah.
Yes, totally, yeah.
And then when that doesn't work, just like talking to her little brother, saying like, "Stop, please, stop doing this." You know, like she is the third. It's an in Bruges reunitement, but she is absolutely the third.
She's amazing in it, and to be able to steal the focus from these two powerhouses who. Brendan Gleeson has always known he's weird, but Colin Farrell, I love that. For 20 years, he's like, I'm a normal actor, and now he's like, I'm a fucking weirdo, and I embrace it. I don't care how handsome
And my
I am.
eyebrows are doing
His
this.
side eyebrows just did all the work for this film.
Big old caterpillars doing all the work.
But
even in things that he's in that are kind of mid themselves, he's really good in them.
yeah,
The Batman.
Yeah, the Batman,
Daredevil?
that lobster movie.
the lobster's
That lobster.
Yeah, it was so weird, but he's really good in it.
No, I do think that he is one of our best actors. Did this ever jump too far for you guys? Were you like, oh, this is not making me suspend my disbelief in a correct way, or were you just on the ride of this? No, it's a fable, it's a fable, it's a fable. And when the fingers get a throne, were you just like, no, this is how these stories work?
It's how these stories work, and I think it helps that I'm a dummy. And so I'm like, okay, it's Ireland, but not Ireland. They're spelling it wrong. They're saying it wrong. And I have no idea what decade this is. I was like, is it just like this in modern days until a calendar shows up and said it's 1923? I'm a moron. But like that, it helped give it a timeless feel. And that the cast of characters, like who they support and when, felt very real. Because whoever they're talking to then, they're like, yeah, I mean, you're right. And then they leave and the other guy comes up. They're like, well, I need you to know that you're right. But it feels like it ratchets it up. But so by the time the old lady is like, wait, is she the banshee? Like, you're fully bought in.
Wait, when the old lady says,
Wait, is she the
am
banshee?
I the banshee here?
When just a
Look to your left, look to your right. If you don't see any banshees, you're the banshee.
when just a black shape starts haunting certain scenes in the background, like, and because dudes suck and are stubborn, and
Right.
Siobhan really points
Ultimately,
that out.
that is the thing. Cassie, it's time to reckon with Esteban Spielbergo's American Cousin. Did Fabelmans, as a story, as a deep dive into a director that you don't care about?
Correct.
Okay. I was just making sure.
Whoa, that kind of hurt.
As the director of Hook and Always, is this still a story that you still connected to in some way?
No.
What?
I
Snap.
I was watching it and I was like, this is dumb.
You have no
And then
heart.
it ended and I was like, this is pointless. And that's
Christ
my take
almighty.
on the Fablemans.
Christ almighty, Ryan.
Thank you for your time.
The whole like when he goes to like high school and like the girl is dating him and like tries to convert him to Christ.
Yes.
And like
I would say one of the most farcical comedic scenes of the year of just this horny fucking girl who's going to get down with this Jewish kid.
Because he reminds her of Jesus. Like, right?
Yeah,
That is
because-
pretty heavily hinted. That's why
That
she
was
wants
one
to
of
make
my
out.
favorite
Oh, no.
parts.
Yeah, I'm not saying
That
it's
part's
bad.
very funny.
This movie is amazing. This is, to quote the great Harry Styles, this movie feels like a movie.
And it also
I
just
agree.
builds out the like what it takes to make a movie. I had so much fun watching it, just seeing how creative he got to advance
Learning it,
his craft.
yeah.
Like, that was just a whole element of the movie besides all the family drama that was just so fun to watch.
Do you know what you need? You need cheese from Reservation Dogs
Yeah.
to be one of your
Yeah.
actors in every single movie.
Also, I think that probably this movie hits for the movie of the year, gents.
the monkey.
Because at the end of the movie, he essentially goes to heaven and he meets John Ford.
Oh, yeah.
And John Ford
Movie
is
god.
played by David Lynch. Like, oh my God, get out of town. And then the like nod to their conversation where he says, you know, you have to have the horizon be up or the horizon down.
And then
Those are
it shifts
interesting.
it at the
And then the
end.
final shot is not staged that way, so it suddenly drops into the camera, like drops down, and then the horizon is up in the top. Dude, if you weren't convinced by then, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. What to
I
tell you.
can't think of I can't think of a single time where I was so sad that I was watching this at home and not in theaters,
Yeah.
because that was the scene where our entire audience would have, in my head, stood up and just like thrown flowers at the screen.
And to like, I mean, Spielberg has perfected the coming of age story, but to also like hint at we know he has trouble with parents, right? The scene that hit me the hardest was the Judd Hirsch and Sammy Fabelman scene where like it got me the most emotional when he's just like, if you want to be creative, you're going to hurt everybody in your life, and you're gonna like it, and you're gonna keep doing it. It's like, oh fuck you, you old crazy man.
Which is not just me as Steven Spielberg talking to my parents, but also my children,
Yes.
my wife. Like, this is everything that, like, I have to do this stuff, and I'm sorry that I've ruined your lives because of
I
it.
love this more than I love you. Here's the movie I made for you about that.
And
Also,
the things I make my stories out of are real lives. Like that I go and I grab from the things that happen to me and I just rip that from you and I recontextualize it. And when you see it, you realize I'm fucking talking about you. And like that must be so humiliating and upsetting. And that the artist says, yeah, I make that choice. I'm going to do that because that's the only real thing I can do.
I can see how dumb it is for him to watch on a movieola, how the kid from Freaks and Geeks is hooking up with the kid from Dawson's Creek, and one of them is his mother, and all of the evidence had been there for years,
Right.
and he didn't see it until he was editing and watching it on film, and I can see how dumb that sounds, but to watch him step back from his editing machine and like come to terms with what he just saw in the movies. The thing that only brings the truth is the movies. God damn it!
And
Cassie, are you serious right now?
Again and again.
Are you not about to cry right now?
I didn't watch this with Cassie, so I didn't know her take on it, and so I started watching it. She walked in halfway through, and I was like, "This movie is bullshit." I don't know. Like, I also really didn't like it. It just didn't resonate with me. It just seemed like a story of privilege in a way because he is a person who came
A lot of privilege.
he had
and a lot
lot
of like, watch how great I am. It's bullshit.
from the
He
moment.
had to work at it. Just because he had privilege and opportunities doesn't mean that he wasn't.
Yeah, he had to make films. He had to film shit that he could go
We
to
are
his Boy
on a
Scouts.
podcast talking about how great and hard it is to make great movies, and you're talking shit on the craft of making movies.
That's
What the
why I
fuck?
can judge it.
What
Because
about
like also privilege.
anti-Semitism? He had to deal with a lot of anti-Semitism.
He got his dick sucked for that. Okay.
Point taken.
He was like, "Hey, I gotta put this in the film. Me getting my dick sucked."
Is your mouth called the film? Because I got to put this in the film.
That's literally it. Did feel like just the dick sucking of Steven Spielberg. For
Yeah,
me.
hell yeah.
Yeah, okay, and some people
Loved it.
enjoyed that more than others. Cassie and I don't like the dick
He
sucking.
removed a rib to make this movie.
Yeah.
He should have just called it the rib instead of the Fableman.
I was wondering if and since you didn't like it, maybe you can tell me, sometimes I thought it leaned on the fable part of Fableman a little bit hard sometimes, and kind of like, and I think this is just Spielberg's natural style, but sometimes it seems like he wants to shy away from realism, and especially early in the movie, the way maybe it's because he's showing himself as a kid, so maybe it has like a less mature tone early on purpose, but like it felt almost like a storybook, the way some of the lines were delivered early in the movie. And I don't know if I settled into that or if the movie evolves a little bit in tone. But is that part of what might have turned you off to it a little bit? Was that it wasn't very realistic sometimes?
I'm fine with it being unrealistic, but I think at the very beginning, like him seeing the train scene and him having to reenact it, like that seemed very much like a child. But the fact
Come
that
on, he's afraid to go to the movies, which I've never even heard of. He's a kid who's afraid to go to the movies, and then the thing that they show on the screen is a train.
A train coming at the
Yeah.
thing.
Come on, dude! I'm
that's
hooting
how
and
movies
hollering.
work.
I'm clapping my hands. I'm hooting and hollering.
that part, I was fine with it up till there, and then it just started getting absurd in a way that I didn't feel like I could jump into, and I kept being taken out of the film, and it just didn't seem like it worked for
What were
me.
the
And maybe it's
absurdities?
just having a fucking like a what's it called? Video. What are they?
Camera?
Camera.
Those are real.
having a camera.
Camera.
No, I know, but his family had a camera and that he could borrow, and it was like back in a time when that was like something that was super expensive. So I was like, how? And then you realize his family's wealthy, but I don't know.
Well, yeah,
it just really brought me out of it.
That's why Spielberg blew up. That Bill Gates blew up to create Microsoft because he was the right age and happened to have a computer at home. So I mean, that's the absurdity is the thing that's real.
Yeah.
I
I think I just didn't like it, and then it was like ew.
I thought
And then I think it just ruined it for me.
I thought some of the lines and some of the deliveries. You know, when you get Paul Dano, like sometimes he has an odd tone to his acting, but I think Spielberg was really leaning into that. That's what he was trying to get out of them. But there were times where there was like wooden dialogue, or like that's the magic
mom
of the
was
movie,
fine.
Sammy.
I think
The dad felt like a puppet.
The
like,
dad was weird. The mom was fine. She was the most quirky, and I felt fine with how her character was.
As far as like my feelings on amount of talent, I would say that Paul Dano and Michelle Williams at this point have always been polar opposites for me, and I think they totally flipped in this movie. I thought I kept seeing Michelle Williams trying to FYZ, like trying to get that Oscar nom. And Paul Dano, I thought, was amazing. This is the best role that he has ever had.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree. I think he was great, and the way Mitzi hides it behind her piano, or like she's kind of sublimated herself. Paul Dano throws himself into work. They all interact with the world and with family through something, and that's why Sammy does it the most obviously with the camera. I can't actually deal with the world. Here's a camera between me and the rest of the world, and that's how I'll go to things that I can't normally go to, like Senior Ditch Day.
Wow, the fact that this is a battle between dorky dudes and girls is shocking. Did you guys also see in the shot?
Science and art together, because that's what film is. Science and art together.
Did you guys see the shot where Paul Dano, Sammy tells Paul Dano, his father, about how he's accepted? He got like this internship or whatever, and Paul Dano stands up, and there's a light on him, and it's Paul Dano reacting, but on the wall, his shadow is Mitzi's shadow.
Ooh, damn.
Filmmaking.
Did you? Okay, tell me, because I don't know. The whole setting the table with all the plastic stuff and using everything that's plastic and then throwing it away, was that a thing that like
His mom was a little
I know she's a little eccentric,
yeah.
but like did
no,
people
did
actually
that.
do that?
Yeah, that was one of the selling points of all that disposable stuff early on, was that.
Yeah.
And some
Well-
people used it that way. Like now we would be like, we're a little shocked by that because it's so wasteful. But that was
Yeah.
like one of the major selling points, is that you could just grab the tablecloth and then throw away all your old dishes.
Didn't it also
Wow.
feel like a bit of rebellion against the housewife? Like she wanted to be this artist.
Yeah.
She didn't. So it was like that rebellion almost. Like
Right.
that.
That's why the mother-in-law rolled her eyes so hard at it. It was not she in the 40s or 50s. She wasn't like, look how wasteful they're being.
wasteful.
She's just like, a real wife would be doing the dishes all night. What are you talking about?
Which is something that anybody, like, we can't relate to have a mother-in-law that would do that. Like, that's
Plus,
So, like-
boys do the dishes, in my experience. So
like, Greg, is that on the roof with a BB gun, throwing them up in the air, shooting them
right.
and
Doing
saying
how
the
you do
dishes
the
are done? Guys, I want to do full shows on both these movies, but unfortunately, it's time to go. Oh, man. Cassie,
Yeah, you know what I'm going for. Banshees.
that's crazy, though. That, I mean,
yeah.
that you would be so that into Banshees means that you hate the Fabelmans. Mike, where are we going?
I think this is truly the hardest battle. These are the two movies that I don't think are going to get out of my brain
Sorry.
for years.
Do you hear these balloons getting air let out of them over here?
I love Martin McDonagh when he's not a cheese dick. In this movie, he was not at all. And Spielberg, this is the best he's been in 20 years. And he is the fucking master whisperer at kids. This kid is a revelation. Little Sammy Fabelman is
That's
amazing.
not a good thing to say.
Child actors, like getting good performance out of child actors. Yeah, mine's gonna be it's the Fabelmans.
It's crazy. McKenna, where are we going?
I'm with Mike. I think this is like the toughest battle for me. These were my two. If you had described the Banshees of Inisherin to me, I would have been like, that sounds like the dullest movie ever. Like, what the hell would I want to watch that? And then watching it, I was like, don't bother me. I am so into this. But I did love the Fabelmans as well. My vote is going to go with Banshees. I think it's just a little tighter. I think it uses its time a little more intelligently, and there's so much unsaid that works to develop the story, whereas the Fabelmans felt a little overstated in some areas. So, Banshees.
I think that's really well put. Caitlin.
I'm going for the fucking donkey.
Oh, we didn't talk about Jenny at all.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, my heart
The
broke.
hero.
Oh my gosh, I'm not over it. Okay.
But like Chekhov's donkey, right? Once we knew,
Yeah.
once the movie started, we were like, "Oh, this
That's-
bitch
Well,
gonna
and
die."
that was his last true piece of hope. This is his last friend. So like, she had to go.
But
Which is
still,
no chance.
Save That Dog but I'm gonna
Yeah.
burn your fucking house to the fucking ground. I'm gonna burn your house to the ground. All right, so that's Caitlin. Your Banshees.
Yeah. The fucking donkey.
Greg.
It's so hard because Cassie said it was like privileged nonsense. So that's probably.
Hey,
I'm a dummy though, and you guys like movies, so it's from two different
Banshees
standpoints.
was privileged. Like I couldn't afford as a kid to have
A donkey?
fresh fingers thrown at my door every
They
morning.
work until 2, if that, every day, and then go drink at the pub.
Yeah.
What's more privileged?
I was so confused. I was like, are they actually working? I was like, it's a different
different
country.
time.
They probably don't have to work in that country.
Colin Farrell in the beginning of the movie. Colin Farrell's like, "Hey, it's 2 p.m. We're gonna go to the pub," and Brendan Gleeson's like, "Nah." And Colin Farrell's like, "What? What the fuck? What do you mean no?"
You can't just say no.
But
the pub.
I think even maybe the objective answer is the Banshees of Inisherin. But I have to say, for me, I love Spielberg so much, and this was not just a movie about him growing up. It's also like you can look at almost every line as being some line about movies or about the way audiences receive movies or about what the power of film can do. And I don't know that I loved it every moment when I was watching it, The Fabelmans, but I've thought about it a lot since then. It was written also, it's co-written by Tony Kushner, which is that's pretty impressive.
That's Lincoln level impressive.
And so I think I'm going to go The Fabelmans.
The vampire killer?
Christ.
Cristo.
And I have 2 votes here.
Oh my god.
You make it.
So the Fablemans goes to the final 4.
Oh, damn.
God damn it.
You're gonna do Jenny like that? She already did.
She already did. She took out Fingy.
Banshees is in my top 4 movies of the year. It's just this was a matchup that was really hard. Fablemans moves on, and when we come back, guys, it's about to get serious.
It's about to get
Tar
real,
versus
right,
Top Gun.
It's about to get real.
When we come back. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening so far. And let me just tell you that everything ahead of this commercial is much better than what came before it. That's my guarantee. While I have you here, let me tell you about a website. It's called yourpopfilter.com. And it's everything you need that's related to Pop Filter. Everything Mike, everything Ryan, everything Greg, everything Cassie, everything is there at yourpopfilter.com. While you're there, go to yourpopfilter.com/Amazon. Make that your new Amazon bookmark and do your shopping from there. That way, we get a little piece of the action and Amazon doesn't. Make sure you're also listening to everything that Pop Filter has to offer, which includes the Superhero Show, a podcast that covers every single TV show that's based on a comic book or comic book property, and Movie of the Year, where we sit down and try and figure out what is the single greatest movie of any given year. That's Superhero Show, that's Movie of the Year, and that's yourpopfilter.com. Rate, subscribe, review. Bye! In our next matchup, we have a movie about a real-life maverick trying to take charge of their life. Despite multiple setbacks and potentially being a little over the hill, our hero triumphs, flying through the air and killing every villain in their path. Anyone who comes into contact with them can do nothing but whisper their name, Lydia Tarr. The other movie is Top Gun Maverick. Taste buds, and this is going to be tasty, Cassie. The final battle of the first round gives us the #1 movie of the year, bringing movie theaters back to life. The other movie is Top Gun Maverick. Tasty Cassie, I ask you this. Which movie did society need more? A meditative nightmare, Slide into Hell, showing us that the absolute power that corrupts absolutely can, if not will, eventually take its toll. Or Tom Cruise in planes going near, pew, 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 pew.
Listen, these days there's so many movies that will teach you something, make you reflect, let you grow.
Too woke? Are you saying Hollywood is too woke?
It's too woke. Sometimes you just want to watch big, expensive planes fly and things get blown up. And Top Gun was here for us. It saved us, and we should all respect it. I would like to call for a slam dunk this round.
We all know if somebody says slam dunk, nobody's allowed to talk. We all now have to go straight to a vote.
We have to vote.
So the timer is over. We're just going to be done. I would like to talk about Tar, though, real quick.
I guess I'll allow a quick moment for Tar.
Say goodbye to your movie, boys.
Actually, you know what, Greg? I'm going to go to you because you know the matchup here. It's Tar, Gun, Lydia. Were you a little surprised that Top Gun got this much credit for being the greatest movie of all time?
Not really, actually. My dad kept saying to me, like, "Man, here, this is Top Gun, huh? Who even wants to see that?" When I was a kid, there was like one movie, and it was Top Gun. Top Gun taught me about sex. It taught me about singing in a bar. It taught me about how planes fly. Nobody knows. And so the idea that there'd be a sequel years later, like, I was excited. And so I expected it to be very good. And it's very good for what it is. Like, it's absolutely clearing the bar that it sets for itself. I would argue, though, that Tar sets a little bit of a higher bar, and then sails over that as well.
Higher because Maverick flies into the stratosphere there, Greg.
And,
do you remember that?
And the danger zone.
There is, when you are watching Top Gun Maverick, you are so alive in that moment, and so is the movie. When you walk out of Tar, at first you're kind of like, what the fuck? And then it lives in you in such a way that, like, you keep going back to it. You keep trying to, like, parse it. You keep trying to figure it out. It's almost like the European movies that we've never heard of that we talk about on Movie of the Year every season. Like, it doesn't try to hold your hand. It doesn't, like, interpret itself for you. It lets itself live in you. And then that's where you, like, have that union of yourself and a movie. And it feels like something extra, something special, something, like, that's kind of unique to you because you walk with it for a while. And I just think that, like, in some ways, Top Gun doesn't do that.
Let's go to our own resident Lydia Tar. McKenna, did you think that it was like better than your average blockbuster?
And I'm gonna break Cassie's heart here. I didn't, and I think my problem is I liked this movie, but it was hyped up a little too much for me. By the time I finally sat down and watched it, I had already heard so much about how I missed the, like, watch-in where it connected all of humanity. I came on that too late, and so then I just saw clips and clips of Miles Teller dancing, and then realized it was 0.5 seconds of the film, and the rest of it was just.
Oh, so that's all you want from a movie? Is Miles Teller dancing?
A movie about
his
planes.
abs undulating,
and it was good. It had a lot of action. It felt uneven to me. I couldn't tell if they really wanted to tell Maverick's, like, redemption story or his getting back into, like, having a career story. Like, they didn't know what they
wanted
were
to tell.
How about both?
How about watch these planes?
It was a little
them
torn on. Is he gonna relive his glory days? Is he gonna like fix his relationship with Goose's son? Is he gonna finally forgive himself? Is he gonna pursue a romance? Like, it was just a little too.
Check all the boxes. Absolutely, he's gonna do it all.
Did he though?
It's Maverick.
Did it do it all?
Books. I came in, I saw Top Gun Maverick, and I think it's recorded on one of our episodes how we had not watched it yet, and it was one of those where I was like, I don't want to watch this. This looks dumb. I never saw Top Gun, the original one. And I was like, this just sounds like a dumb plane movie. And then I came in and watched this movie and walked out of the fucking movie theater a changed person. Like Greg says, it just made me think about planes so much afterwards.
It sticks with you.
And then, like, the people who are in the planes and how do these boats work? Like, that's fucking wild. That, like,
why are they in the air?
Like planes can land on boats, like planes and boats.
Yeah.
That's the
and
Navy.
they just throw a
These
big
planes
rubber
are in the
band to
Navy?
catch them.
Yeah, it blew my mind. The relationships. Tom Cruise, he did that. What? So to Greg's point,
You know, this
yes,
is
I thought about it a lot.
not a documentary. Right?
It's very true.
It doesn't matter. I thought about it, and Greg says that's what happens with movies, and it happened to me.
Greg did say that's what happens with movies.
Now, Caitlin, I'm so excited to have you here
Yeah.
because this is the first time, I think, for the any Pop Filter podcast.
Yeah.
We're talking to somebody who owns the DVD version
Oh, no.
of.
I own the virtual DVD version.
Oh,
Of it. Yeah.
Does it have special features?
It does. Indeed.
Did you watch them all?
Yes, I did.
Okay, tell us about what you learned about Top Gun Maverick.
Tom Cruise. People aren't just able to fly these F-15s. Is that what they are? These big old planes. They're not able to, like, just launch off of these carriers, but Tom Cruise was. He was able to get, like, a special license and a certification in order to literally launch this plane off of this big boat and, like, go in the air. And, like, only people who have all this certification do it. But no, Tom Cruise did do that.
You almost called Tom Cruise Top Gun.
I almost called him the Top Gun.
Tom Cruise came out of Top Gun 1 and he was like, I'm going to make my own fucking flight school. So eventually I can make my own pilots and put them in a fucking film. I'm going to turn actors into pilots.
Yes.
Cassie and Caitlin, you guys have already told us that Spielberg is somebody you don't know about and also hate,
I
which
just-
is weird.
I
I
don't
was
care.
never a
don't
Tom
care
Cruise
about-
fan either.
You were not a Tom Cruise person?
No, I still don't think I'm like a Tom Cruise person. But like Top Gun Maverick, like changed. Like I like him for that moment, and I like that.
I saw a lot of Scientology pamphlets in your backseat, Caitlin.
I'm so glad you brought it up. I'd like to talk to you about something. Your
It's
energy is
crazy
just feeling
how-
right now.
Not Tom Cruise person you say for how clear you are and that you've never seen a couch you don't jump on.
I'm a Tom Cruise at an Oprah show, like fan.
It was nice to
That's-
see a movie where Tom Cruise is on the inside of a plane.
That he wasn't trying to kill
Yeah.
himself in this one.
Great movie, I guess. It was fine. It was a really good Fast and the Furious movie.
Yeah.
But we do have to get to one of the movies of the year, which is Tar. I watched a lot of movies. It's hard for me to describe the experience of seeing Tar for the first time and what it did to me. This is an odd matchup in that they're very different movies, but similar in the way that like you are forever changed after you go through what this movie puts you through. Right, Mike?
Yes, I think watching Cate Blanchett is awe-inspiring. She's one of the best living actors, and it's crazy she's not talked about even more. Can a movie be about a pretentious character without itself being pretentious? I don't know if that means how I liked this movie or not, but I don't think so.
I think maybe it could have been. I don't think that's what we're dealing with here, though. I think this movie is the most pretentious movie of the year.
I
for
had
sure.
to have my dictionary app open. I was like, garrulous. What the fuck? I thought I knew words. And it spent like
Tar. Wait, I looked up tar. This person's
They-
not made of tar at all.
they throw you in with just having like an NPR style, a half an hour NPR style interview, and you're like, this is what you're gonna get. Strap in, and then watching her.
Wait, hold on, Mike. There's something before that. Before the 15-minute non-broken interview, we get all of the end credits played.
Yeah.
Old school.
That's how you know you're seeing a real film.
That's how I knew I was in for an experience. I was like, oh no.
Oh, no.
no.
Did you fast forward, Cassie?
Fuck yeah, I did.
She does not respect best boys nor grips.
There are several long shots in this movie, right? Like, or scenes that are done in essentially one take.
Yeah,
But,
Isn't
I mean-
also the classroom scene that way.
yeah.
As pretentious as it is, like, it's not... Go ahead, Mike, about the classroom scene.
The classroom scene was why, like, yes, she is pretentious, but that's when it's like the movie's not, and that's when for me it started to be like, okay, I think I know how the movie feels about Lydia. Like, it starts to solidify a little, and it also made me think this is the intellectual cousin of like the very physical Whiplash. Where
Right.
that movie, where it's like, how far do you push to become the best?
Which stars
And
Rooster.
is that your choice,
does he
or is it
dance?
this domineering genius who forces you to go through things and ruins your life?
And yet, I think that the classroom scene is like up there with, hey buddy, I'm going to put you on my shoulders because your legs are broken and I'm going to run around, like as a set piece, because
Right.
what else do you need to see about this movie? Like, she's going around with all the confidence where you think that you're like, God damn, she's brilliant, and she is, but like also the camera lingers on her customers.
Yes.
Like barely, not even students, her customers who are like, fuck this shit, dude. Like, fuck this.
One a great piece of acting, not by Blanchett in that scene, is the kid whose face is smiling to try to be like, "Hey, Predator, don't hurt me," but his leg is going a million miles an hour,
Right.
and I was like, and you can just see he's so bundled and tight, and yeah,
And she walks around the classroom like she's my cousin Vinny in the courtroom, being like, huh? Look, do you see what I did? And all of her students are like, yes, we did. I don't think we're having the same reaction that you think that we should, but yes, we saw it.
I think it's pretty genius to cast Blanchett. One, everybody should cast her and everything, but it's a post-Me Too movement movie, and to have it be the woman in power starts talking about the power dynamics, where I do think if this was a dude, if Bryan Cranston played Lionel Tarr, people would be like, we get it, dudes are bad, fuck you. And I think this movie comes in sideways and forces you to sit with it and how society deals and does not deal with gross predators.
Also,
It's
if
the
it
power,
were
not the
a-
gender.
If it were a dude, then he would already like be back to having his special on Netflix. Like, the fact that she is punished in a permanent way is like, I think that she ends up losing the argument in the movie because I think there is something gendered to the amount of like damage that
people
she
turn on
takes.
her. Yeah.
Yeah, for what she's done. I think that, like, I don't know, you're left, I guess, rather than weigh in one way or the other, I think you're left in this movie wondering, like, how problematic is she because she's just someone in power, or how much are we upset by what she's doing because she's a woman? And that character would be the first one to say it doesn't factor into that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a big question mark, I think, that you're left with to try to put together on your own.
And it's also, I think, the first thing, movie or album or whatever, of the Me Too movement to be like, how much are you willing to put up with to get the genius, right? Like, how much are you, like, they are just creating greatness. So they can be a little bad, right? Like, are we hierarchying the amount of bullshit that people are allowed to get through because of what they mean to us or because of how creative they are? And then sit with that thought that, like, oh, you're letting more people who are more talented or creative get away with more because you like them more?
Mm-hmm. And not like them, because, like, people fawn over her, but I don't know if anybody's, like, even her wife is comfortable hanging out with her, but, like, they know she's a shitty boss and treats her assistant like shit and leads her around. Like, hey, you might get this assistant position if you live with me 24/7, do whatever I say. People know that, and they're fine with that. They know she bullies other conductors who, like, he's a slime ball in his own way, but just asks for advice and gets people know that she's a prick. And they're like, I mean, come on. We're all going to be a prick sometimes, right? But, like, it's like, what do you let people get away with and what do you not?
And then also going through all the genres, like we've talked about with so many of these movies. There's a part where this is a horror movie, you know? Like, there's a part where it's a whodunit, where she's, like, running around through a shitty apartment building being like, is somebody literally out to get me? It's a mystery.
Am I actually being haunted? Like, am I haunted by what
Is that wolf real?
Yeah, like, am I haunted by what I've done? Or, like, is there actually a ghost in my house?
Oh, yeah, that fuck that. Don't want to think about it. I hate when non-ghost movies start hinting at that shit. That fucks me up, man.
Do you know what my favorite non-ghost movie is? My Life, Mike. And the fact that I have ghosts around me is crazy. Cassie, let me ask you this before we go to a vote. Is this a dream better? Because there's a lot of people that said that Tar died at that shitty apartment building and that she never ran and knocked over that conductor. Like, that would never have
hard to
happened.
believe that somebody would run and bump into somebody else.
And then there's the Maverick clearly died in the first 12 minutes of Top Gun. And the rest is a Tom Cruise / Pete Maverick dream.
Both are very, in my mind, both very real. But neither have died. I don't. Yeah,
Nobody ever dies.
All
You don't
of
believe in
these are
death.
dreams. Like, every single movie is a dream. I think that it's weird in the conversation.
Oh, this is coming from the person that believes that Lydia Tarr is a real ass person.
Well, okay. You can tell by the staging of the movie Lydia Tarr is a real person, Ryan. You can tell by the way it's made that she's real. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Didn't you just hear that Leonard Cohen's estate said that
Bernstein.
she did indeed study under him? Like, she's a real person. I don't know what else you need to know that she's a real person. She did the music for Monster Hunter. That's a real game. Like, what are you talking about? NPR. That's a real. Like, you could turn on your radio right now and hear it. I don't even know where.
So, Greg, are you the first on the list for Tar on Tar paperback edition coming to your house?
Tar on Tar. I am.
Cassie, it's time to vote. Tar or Top Gun?
Listen, Tar, beautiful movie.
Did you actually like it?
I did like it. At the end, like, it was definitely good. It was good, but there's not planes in it. I'm voting for Top Gun.
I mean, she flies on a private plane quite often, actually.
Greg, Tar or Top Gun?
All throughout the movie Tar, her biggest insult is that she calls people robots, and that is exactly what happens to her. She becomes the conducting equivalent of a robot, actually having like a click track that she conducts to. That is the ultimate nightmare. Like, she is punished as hard as any character has been punished. Tar is my vote. My real vote for my real friend Tar.
Ooh, friend.
Yeah.
That makes Greg problematic.
Yes, she's real and she's my friend. I have no problem saying that.
Mike, now Tara has been elevated from real person to competition with us to be Greg's friend.
I would
Are you cool with
I
that?
would listen to at least 3 episodes of Greg and Lydia Tarr on a podcast. My dictionary would be out the whole time. I'd have several editions.
Just keep looking up garrulous.
I can't.
Why
How do
can't
I
I
fucking
fucking
spell
remember?
this?
And it's just because Lydia Tarr thinks that garrulous is a better word than Greg, so that's just what she calls him.
Greg the
All right.
Garrulous.
Mike, what is your vote?
I am historically been put down as hating the first Top Gun, and I was blown away by the sequel. This is what a legacy sequel should do. It should make you care about characters you used to not care about at all. It was dope. I'm fine with a Rogue Nation is doing this. Don't ask any fucking questions. We don't want to piss anybody off right now. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Aren't blockbuster movies fun? But yeah, Tar, man, is what should come out next.
What?
The superhero Tar Man.
What about the fact that the last 15 minutes of Top Gun Maverick, he's like, Top Gun, it's cool. Mission Impossible's cooler. Let's just change it into a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
Let's just get on the ground and run around and
I
shoot.
didn't know he could do things out of a plane.
Ethan, we've stolen the missiles from the missile silo.
Tar is moving on. Top Gun, congratulations. You are roughly the same as RRR in that a great movie that we do have to move on from. When we come back, we're going to take these 4 down to 1.
Hola, Filterinos. I just wanted to interrupt real briefly and say thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. If you want to support us a little more directly, you can go to patreon.com/yourpopfilter. There, depending on what tier you pick, $1 a month, $5 a month. If you're crazy, anything more than $5 a month, don't do that. You can get extra content. There's extra shows, extra series, behind-the-scenes stuff. You could pay for Ryan to draw you a picture. I can write you a poem. You can get the shirts off our very own backs. All of that and so much more over at patreon.com/yourpopfilter. While you're on the internet, you should check out Shady Monk. He does all the tunes you've been listening to. He's on Bandcamp, he's on Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever kids get their music these days that I'm too old to know. Shady Monk lives there. You can probably follow him on Twitter and Instagram as well. That's Shady Monk. Wherever you get music, check him out.
This is it, the final 4. This is the end of the best of the year 2022. It is July 14th, 2026, and we are almost done. Nope, we have another show after this. It's best thing of the year. But before we get to that, we have our final 4. And honestly, it gets easier from here. Like, those first 4 battles were very hard for me. But up next, we have Everything Everywhere All at Once versus Nope. And I am going to go to Cassie.
Oh, no.
And I want you to talk to me about lack of genre. When the genres aside. And also, everybody has to vote, like, really quick. Don't fucking make a big deal out of it. Just vote. But, Cassie, what has, like, how do you learn to be a human by watching these 2 movies? Which one teaches you more?
But you want me to just breeze past this and vote quickly?
Yeah,
Oh,
just
no,
do
I
it
want-
quickly while you talk about
I want.
Yeah.
You've got 45 minutes. Everybody else has 30 seconds.
Good. I don't even remember the question, but
Well, you
It's
got 45 minutes, so make yourself comfortable.
It's Everything Everywhere versus Nope.
oh god, that's such a hard matchup. Both stuck with me at the end, which it's normally like which one would I go back to, and I would watch both of these, and both were a delightful time. Surprisingly, Nope was, I guess, delightful. It was a good watch.
Remember that time where the lead actor, he was in his truck and he was about to get out, but there was a loud sound. He was like, "Nope."
Yeah,
That's so good.
I was pretty jazzed when that happened. I felt very basic for that, but I am a basic person, so I just went with it.
It was just so quiet too. He's like, no.
Nope.
Yeah, dude.
I think I'm gonna go Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why it's the 22-iest movie. Caitlin, what are we thinking?
I am also doing the same thing. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay, if I was a waiter, I'd be like, it's weird for both of you to order the same thing. Mike?
Yeah, Jordan Peele is one of my favorite directors. I'm going to go out and see, even if there's no trailer, I'll go out and see, and I know I'm going to have to chew on his stuff afterwards. But even though that made me think longer, and the Daniels Everything Everywhere All at Once is cleaner, I'd say it's a flawless cleanliness. And the multiverse is the theme of this year. So all of that.
Because Marvel, right? Right, Mike?
Miggity, Mac.
I'm gonna continue with the same order of Everything Everywhere All at Once because I think there's something so beautiful about this film.
Let me ask everyone this before Greg votes. Putting the 2 up against each other, they're both trying a lot, and one I do believe is more successful, the one that you guys are voting for. But does it count that like Nope was almost forgotten, and Everything Everywhere has just stuck with us. Is that part of it when you're voting? Is like it's so 22.
Well, there's a reason, right? I mean, both of them came out in the beginning in Q1, which was fucking so long ago, and there's a reason one stuck with us and one I think did less so in the public consciousness.
All right, Greg.
Googly
what do you think?
eyes.
Clean
is the
sweep.
reason.
I'm going to say something that is probably sacrilegious, which is I'm starting to get a little tired of multiverse stuff. It's kind of at like the center of almost all entertainment, and it feels like it's starting to get a little raggedy. And ultimately, I left Everything Everywhere all at once, and I felt very satisfied. It was super fun. But as I've said before, I like these kind of like chewier, like, well, what was that? And what's the implications of that? And how do you take the main point of the movie and apply it to this one element that seems to cut the other way? And Nope is the movie that has that for me. So I think I'm just going to go against the grain here and say Nope.
I'm going to as well. I like Everything Everywhere, and I love that it happened. Like I love that people went to a theater to see non-IP, and I've seen it twice now, and I do think it's a little bit sloppy. I think it's a little too bumpy. I think it's a little too whatever sticks to the wall, whatever idea we should put in there.
And maybe by intention, right? Like it almost feels like they tried to wear that on their sleeve a little bit.
Yeah, but like at a certain point, you're getting in the way of what you're actually like. There's so much good about this movie, and I can't pick it's not butt plugs, it's not wiener fingers, it's not Raccacoonie. It's that all of it at the same time.
It might be Raccacoonie, though.
It's
Sort
probably
of weird.
Raccacoonie.
Yeah.
They may have overreached a little bit on that one.
Whereas Nope is like, if me and Greg ever have a second of silence and we're hanging out with each other, one of us will just be like, Nope, and we'll just talk about it. Because like that's sort of what Jordan Peele's movies do. I'm going to go with Nope, but we don't have the votes. Everything always moves on. What are you on, Fox News?
You don't have the votes. No, I'm on
Hamilton.
Hamilton.
No.
The musical,
Sorry.
Ryan.
Yeah,
Disney
that's
Plus,
basically
check it out.
that's old school Fox News as far as I'm concerned. The next battle is Fablemans versus Tar. Mike, you're starting us out here. We have the analogs of two very real people: Sammy Fableman, Steven Spielberg, Lydia Tar, which of course is an analog for Tidia Lar. That's the end of the bit, Mike. It's your vote.
Oh, I thought I didn't want to interrupt. I thought
That was a long silence, man.
Yeah, I thought that your sentence ended as such that I thought it was continuing.
Just so everyone knows, when I say Tidia Lar, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah, it's which one for intellectual versus heartstrings, and I'm gonna go with heartstrings, and to be into this game as long as he is, and every few movies be like, no, I need you to know even more that this movie is about me. I know I've done that a few times in my past, but even fucking more. I was blown away so quickly. I was in love with everything everybody was doing. The Fablemans.
Mac?
I think the Fablemans it really entertained me that they were out, but it also made me think. I had a blast watching it, so it's gonna get my vote.
Holy shit. Caitlin?
Tar. Let's go, women.
Let's go, problematic women.
Yeah, problematic. Woo, woo, woo.
Caitlin, do you think that a vote for Fablemans is a vote against women?
No, I think Tar was definitely a better movie.
A
Cassie?
vote for Tar might be a vote against women.
Let's go, women. Not Tar.
Holy shit. It's 2-2, Greg.
We didn't talk about the part in Tar where she tries to delete emails by just deleting them from her own.
Her own. Yeah.
Geniuses are dumb.
Geniuses are so dumb. That's because they need people to like do the normal life stuff for them.
It's as boomer as throwing your computer into a dumpster and hoping that solves your problems.
This is a very tough one, but ultimately, I'm glad that we did that movie of the year about AI, Ryan. We did that bonus episode about AI because I feel like that movie kind of taught me how to watch this one, which is this is not a guy who likes to look at the world dead on. You know, he likes to look at it through a camera, and that's how he learns about it. But Tar is also so good. I have to go with what my heart's saying. I think I'm going to do the same thing Mike did, which is that like I felt really, really good after watching The Fabelmans, and I felt like positive about movies and positive about like the patron saint of our podcast, which is Steven Spielberg. And The Fabelmans. I'm gonna go with it. I feel like the smarter answer is Tar, to be honest, but I can't. I have to be true to Greg, and it's The Fabelmans.
Speaking of smarter, it's Ryan's turn, and as much as I love Spielberg, oh man, and
not fun, huh, Ryan? When it's your turn.
I have my top 4 movies of the year are After Sun, obviously, incredible movie, and then Tar, Fabelmans, and Banshees. So this is rough, like this, but I think that Tar is the most 22 movie, and Tar is the most like the most well-made movie. I love Fabelmans, but like Tar it's like, what if Jordan Peele made a movie where we talk about it? That's what I would say Tar is. So Tar moves on to the finals. Here we go. I feel like Tar has fucked itself. It's Everything Everywhere All at Once versus Tar. Cassie,
Everything Everywhere.
you don't want to talk about your thought, or
No,
we're
we
doing
got
quick.
we got to
We gotta
quick
do
round
quick.
this. Just
no?
listen to your heart. What comes out first? Everything Everywhere.
I'm hosting now. We don't have to go fast at all. Greg, what are we doing?
This is not that hard for the old Gregster. I'm gonna go with Tar.
McKenna?
I'm gonna say let's go women and go with Everything Everywhere. And an accurate and appropriate.
It's Women's Month, and this will be out.
Where women are both the heroes
Hopefully.
and the villain of the story.
Caitlin?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's Everything Everywhere All at Once. I thought there was a question.
Mike, it's Everything Everywhere All at Once versus Tar. And the decision comes down to you. What is the movie of the year?
Ayo. That stands for EEAA. Oh. I forgot to spell it. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I give Tar 2 votes, but I don't have the votes. Everything Everywhere All at Once is your pop filter movie of the year 2022. It was the number 1 seed. It's probably going to win Best Picture. Are we hacks?
No, I mean, I personally voted against it 3 times, but now that it is the answer, I have to say, like, you know, go out on the street and tell people what the 2022 movie of the year is. They're going to agree with you. Like, whether it's my mom and dad or my youngest nephew, like, they're going to have the same opinion. So I think that means something.
Tar is too, like, fuck you. Like tries to get rid of its audience as hard as it can. Top Gun, I think, is maybe that's the one where, like, people would argue with you, but, like, I don't know. Everything Everywhere All at Once feels like a blockbuster and an art house movie all at the same time. It's the best of the blockbusters and the best of the art house. So I guess this does make sense.
We all have dreams and we all fart, and that's what I feel like this movie is about.
The Daniels love farting, man. And this movie was turned down.
Caitlin,
Yeah.
you've seen Swiss Army Man?
I have seen Swiss Army Men with Daniel Radcliffe. Yes,
You watched it with Daniel Radcliffe?
I did. I watched it. He was right next to me, and he was like, "This is the moment where I fought."
Is it better than Everything Everywhere?
No. I thought Swiss Army Men was a little bit messy, where it's like the message was sweet, but I think it was missed with so much farting, which I love farting, but like
I know.
there was
I know
just
you
so
do,
much
buddy.
of it.
The farting, I
in
don't
the room
think,
with
is
you. I
what
know.
ruined my message. I think it was the fact that he's been stalking this woman for years.
Yeah, there was a
that's
lot
what
that
ruined the
was-
sweet message for me.
Yeah, and then he did fart off into the distance, like.
What
It was
is
kinda fun.
stalking but love persisting? Even through court orders.
Christ. All right. We have to send somebody to the MCU and somebody to make another movie with like $5 million. It's the Daniels or Todd Field, director of Tar. Where are we going?
The Daniels.
To make MCU?
Yeah.
To make Greg a character that says what is stalking?
Yeah.
How about Todd Field, and he's doing Doctor Strange leading his Strange Academy. So, like, he basically is, we imagine Lydia Tarr as a fictional character like Doctor Strange is, and then he leads the academy, and he's got, like, the same attitude and weirdness that she does.
I love how much, I don't know, like, imagination and fiction we have to add to just pretend to imagine that Lydia Tarr is a fictional character. Like, Mac, which director of these 8 movies do you want to see in the MCU?
Oh, of all 8, I get to choose of everyone?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Jordan Peele.
No, but then he's not going to make his movies. Bad answer,
Wait,
Mac.
why does this mean that he can't make his movies? I didn't know I was
You're
choosing the
wrong.
direction
Who
for
did the
life.
Banshees one?
Jesus.
That's Martin McDonough.
I would want that.
There's a Marvel character named Banshee.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And
The
Colin
Banshees of
Farrell
X-Men.
plays him, but he's a real piece of shit, just kind of like he sort of is in the comics.
Guys ever notice that Ryan doesn't know how to end shows?
I think it's going really well right now.
Thank you.
It's just there's one sentence. You say one sentence, we're done.
Congratulations to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Fuck Mike. Fucking fuck Mike. He's a piece of shit. He's
Feck
a-
him. Feck
This
him.
is my
Fucking-
Banshee's nightmares coming true.
Feck him in his Dunkaroo.
You have fat fucking fingers too.
No, that is true, though. Can't get a ring around him. God, don't even need to turn into hot dogs. They already are.
Are both characters in this?
For Mac.
You're also
For
the fucking donkey.
Oh, that was the sweetest.
That's why my wife is always like, don't let Mike in the house. Why do you always let Mike in the house?
He's an ass.
For Mac, for Mike, for Caitlin, for Cassie, for Greg, I am Ryan. Congratulations to EAO, which is what Mike's donkey says when he lets her into the house. That's the movie of the year. When we come back next time, best thing of the year? Let's do it.